There is always strength in numbers as we head for the finish line. We will bring you the Ks, the drives, and the ones that find the bottom of the hole. Here we go. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sportsnight. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And you know, I love spring sports for a number of reasons, but because most of the time the weather's nice.
And it has really cooperated very well so far this spring season. Just about everybody pushed something back from Thursday last week. So we've had a little bit of shuffling to the schedule, but the sun has been out for the most part, and it's been tolerable outside. Very spring-like. Very good.
Before the show, I was up on the roof running a report. Pray for Thursday because there's supposed to be some rain. It may be our first game on the schedule that we're going to have to keep our fingers crossed for.
We're at softball on Thursday.
Softball on Thursday.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting.
Of course. We start the show with the baseball team on Monday last week. They were in that makeup game from the season opener against Totino Grace. They came up short against the Eagles, losing 6-3. Jacob Califoot had a decent day at the plate, 2 for 3, a double, a stolen base, drove in a run. Jeremy Otte and Chell Norquist each had a couple of hits as well, but the Cardinals come up short and fall 2-0-3. Cardinals were back home on Tuesday looking for their first win, but hosting an undefeated Blaine squad. The Bengals were 4-0 to start, and they had only allowed 3 runs, none of them earned in those 4 games. So it was critical to try to limit their offense, which also came in averaging more than 5 runs per game. Blaine opens the scoring in the top of the second, 2 on, 2 out. Henry Siemens with a high fly to right field, hangs up in the wind and gets over the head of Reese Sharp. Carson Tim and Sam Pooter score on the play, and it sparked a 2-out rally. 2 batters later, Wilson Guzzi with a solid single into right field. Siemens will score easily. Derek Schloman isn't far behind. Bengals jump to a 4-0 lead. Cardinals down 7 before they score in the 4th. Runners at the corners, no out. Bryce Karen gets a good jump, gets in well ahead of the tag. Jacob Califoot comes home with to complete the double steal, get the Cardinals on the board. Still in the 4th, Cardinals become the first team this season to score 2 against Blaine. Bryce Karen with the drive to left center. Sacrifice fly will score Karen from third, but that's as close as it would get. Blaine able to end the game early with another big inning in the 6th. Derek Schloman, a 2-run single to left center. They played 5 more runs in the 6th and pushed their lead to 10. Cardinals fall 12-2. It's the 3rd time in their first 4 games that they haven't seen a 7th inning.
Yeah, that's a tough start to the Cardinals because, you know, typically you don't see that. I mean, the pitching really isn't there for them right now. The hitting isn't where it'd like to be. And so I know Coach Mossey's got to be frustrated by the fact. Still a young season, lots of time ahead, but it doesn't get any easier.
Well, and the weeks just, if there are any further delays and postponement, leaves more and more games to get in that very short spring season. This week they are at Anoka on Tuesday. And Howie?
We'll be there.
Then they host Armstrong on Thursday, and they will host Grand Rapids. The Thunderhawks coming to Sunstrom Field
that should be fun.
On Saturday. Softball team opened their week last week on Tuesday against the Blaine Bengals. Former coach Zach Nienaber, and the Bengals ended it early, 14-3 in 5 innings. Only a handful of hits for the Cardinals, but they were able to get 3 across. But they fall to 0-4 on the early season.
Yeah, tough loss. Well, the Cardinals were hoping they could bounce back from that one when they got a visit from the winless Osseo Orioles the very next day. The Orioles were 0-6 and had been outscored 51-11 through those 6 games. So this was a great opportunity for the Cardinals to score their first win of the season. Cardinals get going quickly, though. This is just the 4th pitch of the ballgame. Charlie Zachman singles right back through the box. Charlotte O'Lear is going to score easily from second. Osseo up 1-0. But Annalie Anderson settled down after that. She sent down 11 of the next 14 batters she faced. Nice job there, but Osseo finally breaks through in the top of the 5th. 2 on, 1 out, 1 across. Charlie Zachman drops a bunt right in front of the plate. Meyer throws her out, but Abby Sankey able to score from third. They had 1 more, 4-0. Cardinals answer in the home half. 2 on, 2 out for Tinley Carger. She unloads it to this one, deep shot to straightaway center. It'll roll to the fence. Kendall Karen and Sophia Bach score on the double. Ava Kellis is up next, and she duplicates the effort. Another shot to the fence and center. Carter will score. Kellis is pumped as her double as the Cardinals back within a run. Doesn't last, unfortunately. Our Orioles pull away for good in the sixth. Zachman, with bases loaded and one away, fires it to the gap in right center. A bases clearing double, part of a 6-run inning that pushed the lead to 10-3, and that was the final. Cardinals fall to 0-5. Tough one.
Yeah, they say hitting is contagious. Unfortunately, the Cardinals, both baseball and softball, has been on the wrong side of that infection. It's got to spread to the home dugouts when they're here and the visiting dugouts when they're on the road at some point. Another busy week for the softball squad. They're at Anoka on Tuesday, at Cambridge Isani on Wednesday. They host Armstrong on Thursday, and they host Duluth East on Friday. So 4 games in 4 days, all, of course, weather permitting.
Right. And we'll be there Thursday, by the way. So hopefully,
yes, as we talked about
permitting.
earlier, weather permitting. Both Tuesday and Thursday, baseball and softball.
Yeah.
The volleyball team had a couple of games last week. As we were here on Monday night, they were taking on Spring Lake Park. Cardinals fell in 2 close ones early, battled back to take the third, but fell in 4. Griffin Garbo continues to be a monster on the attack. 32 kills in this one. Lucas Yang had 43 assists. Kavanaugh had 14 digs for the Cardinals. On Wednesday, Cardinals take on Park Center, and they bounce back after a slow start. They lost to the Pirates 25-19, but then beat them in 4, 17-19, 18. Garbo, 26 kills, 5 aces, and 6 digs. Hyatt had 5 kills for the Cardinals. Julian Vang had 3. Again, a solid night setting the ball for Lucas Yang. And Seichow had 3 kills, 3 blocks, and a couple of digs as well. They are off tonight, Monday, as they normally play on Monday nights, but they will play at Maple Grove on Wednesday, and they host Andover next Monday. Tennis team, we talked about it last week, very busy. They did have to push one of their dual meets further out when weather came in on Thursday, but they still got a lot of tennis in. On Tuesday, they took on a Blaine team, I believe that was undefeated at that point. They lose 6-1. Lundberg and Yang at second doubles get the lone win for the Cardinals, 6-4, 6-4. Cooper Held got a win in the first set, but falls in 3. Hackman and Hirsamaki, 2 pretty solid or tight sets, but unfortunately they lose in straight sets, 5-7, 5-7. Demmer and Ryland also lose in straight sets of third doubles, 5-7, 4-6. On Wednesday now, they bounce back with a 4-3 win against Champlain Park. We talk about it a lot. It's always good to win those 4-3 contests.
Yes.
And this one, of course, extra sweet because it's the first win of the season. As they say, first win is always the hardest. Cooper Held led the way with a 6-2, 6-2 win at first singles. Leet got the win 6-3, 6-2 at fourth singles. Demmer and Ryland won in 3 sets at second doubles, and Hirsamaki and Tumby were getting the Cardinals the last win at third doubles. And a lot of tennis played. They were supposed to play Andover on Thursday. That one was pushed until I think this week. Then on Saturday, they hosted a round-robin tournament, and they win 2 more matches by 4-3
That's great.
scores
Love to see it.
over Irondale and over St. Francis. And then, unfortunately, they lose a 4-3 match to St. Anthony. All of these were 8-set or 8-point or 8-game pro sets rather than playing a full set. They played 8 games pro sets. So a little bit shortened, condensed to get as much in as they could. One player, Oliver Leet, was 3-0, and then 3 or 4 guys that finished 2-1. So very busy, but they get a couple of wins. They're just a couple of games under 500.
Yeah, you get that first win, and then it snowballs. You get the second win and the third win, so that's got to feel good for Coach Stork.
They are actually hosting Rogers as we sit here on the desk here at CTN on Monday. They will host Princeton on Wednesday and be at Maple Grove on Thursday. Well, the track and field teams had a couple of events last week, starting with a trip to Armstrong on Tuesday. This was a friendly meetup with the Falcons and the teams from Elk River. No official scores were kept, but it was a chance for all the athletes to work on their forms and maybe to get a peek at what some of their rivals have at the same time. None of the teams probably showing everything they have, but some things are impossible to hide, like the closing speed of Amari Royal. She runs away from the pack at the end of the 100-meter, and you notice she had friends at the finish line. Relays have been a cornerstone of the boys' team's success over the past couple of years. The girls are hoping they, too, can build with a baton in their hands. This is the 4x1. Solange Barkin started it, Marvina Williams and Amari Royal in the middle. Danielle Ude finishes strong, and early on they're proving all their relays are going to be dangerous come section time. Girls have a lot of leaders helping them take the team to the next level. Several should have a good chance at state. This is senior captain Bailey Rao cruising to the finish in the 400-meter. She's a multi-sport captain. Good leader to have on your side. On the boys' side, Cardinals are just scary good. Just a couple of events at the Armstrong to show you. This is Loic Joitza going full tilt in the 110 hurdles, way out front, but check it out, top three all wearing Cardinal gear. Similar story in the 100-meter dash. Makai Martin, just afterburners to the finish line, finishes right alongside teammate Joey Hauge. Again, not a scored event, but a lot of CR jerseys at the front of every race. And this event, the Osseo invite, was supposed to happen on Thursday, but because of the weather, it was pushed to Saturday. And the Cardinal boys just absolutely dominant in a first-place finish. I think there were 6 teams there, and I don't remember exactly the point spread, but they were well ahead. And you can see a lot of first-place finishes. Makai Martin in the 400, Lance Hill in the 100. Second places for Carnell Robinson and Joitza in the hurdles. And those two actually finished 2-4 in those 2 events. So Robinson was fourth in the longer hurdles, and Joitza was fourth in the 110. Seeing Abuga and Aluka, not surprising, up there near the top. Davian finishing 6'5". He not quite the 6'6" he jumped day one, but he had to settle for second place. So still very impressive. Very impressive. Aluka also finished third in the long jump. Hayden Skillings third in the discus, while Jacoby Peterson was third in the shot put, and a couple of second place finishes in relays, both 4x2 and 4x4. Girls team, it was a bit larger field. It was 12 teams, not 6. I apologize. Girls finished in 11th. Boys finished first. Again, dominant. Shania Horton had a second place finish in the high jump. That's the best finish for the Cardinals. Angel Marshall was fourth in the pole vault. Amari Royal had a 7th place finish in the 100. Bethany Law, a 7th place finish in the 2-mile. Galama was 5th place in the long jump. Boyce was 12th in the shot put. And there you see relays finishing 5th, 6th, and 7th for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I loved watching Martin in that clip, just turn on that extra little bit of speed and pass his teammate to get that win. That was fun. But and it's interesting for the girls, too, because they can watch the success of the guys and really learn, and that helps them, I believe.
And I believe they're feeding off of that energy, and they have the leaders at the front that really will have a shot this year to make some noise at sections. Boys, I mean, we talked about
scary
last,
good.
It's funny because, again, when we spoke with the teams, as soon as I turned the camera off, Coach Russ Sullivan's like, yeah, are we done? Okay, yeah, we're going to be really good.
That's fun.
Like, where was that when we were on camera? I
know.
But he was being humble. and not wanting to jinx things, and maybe I'm jinxing things now, but these guys just across the board have been so impressive through the first handful of meets. So hopefully they can keep it going. They have the Bengals invite next Tuesday, and then the Cardinals invite is on Friday of next week on the 2nd of May.
Well, the boys golf team opened its conference schedule with a trip around the links at North Fork on Thursday. The Cardinals hit some solid rounds in the Bunker Hills invite to start the season. But as we talked about last week, that's a tournament where there's some room for error. And the Northwest Suburban matches also carry the added pressure of going against your fiercest rivals. Zach Bushy was the first Cardinal to be caught on camera by CTN legend Neil Highlights Hennon. The weather was less than ideal, a little cool, and a lot windy. But this is an awesome pitch and run. Bounces off the pin. The junior had a 42 and a 45 to finish 15 over. Jackson Barsons is up next, and he just could not find his rhythm on Thursday. Not sure if it was the weather throwing him off, but he barely avoids triple digits, chalking up a 98 for the day. Senior Dylan Bushy get the best round of the day for the Cardinals. 79 is a solid round for most everyone, but in the Northwest Suburban, it means an 8-way tie for 30th place. Junior Cole Carlson, another Cardinal player with a round he probably wants to forget. He did have a birdie on the par 5 10th, but he needed 96 strokes to finish the course and didn't factor into the team's scoring. Oscar Berg is another senior the Cardinals will be looking for leadership this season. He had a solid day at North Fork, complete with a pair of birdies and an eagle on that par 5 10th. He finishes just a stroke off the team lead with an 80. And the last of the Cardinals we caught up with was Noah Law. And he was Mr. Consistent on Thursday, a 42 on each side of the scorecard to get back to the clubhouse with a respectable 84. As a team, the Cardinals finished 13th with a 308 strokes behind Andover.
Of 330.
330. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's it's tough. Again, 79. I would be over the moon to play 18 holes.
Can you imagine?
And finish 7 over. The scores are going to get even better in the Northwest Suburban. They did not have anyone crack below par. They had, I think, 2 guys that finished at par, and then a handful at 73, a bigger handful at 74. So that, by the time you get to a 79, just 7 strokes over par, it's an 8-way tie for 30th place.
That's crazy.
That's pretty good competition.
I know, for sure.
They're going to see those same Northwest Suburban teams a couple times this week. They're at Baker today, Monday. They will be at Rush Creek on Thursday. While the boys team plays tournaments against all of their conference opponents at the same time, the girls go head-to-head with each rival. The Cardinals had their first dual meet of the season on Wednesday last week, making the short trip to Majestic Oaks to take on Blaine. The Bengals were one of the teams the Cardinals finished ahead of in the Osseo Invite, now a chance to start the conference schedule 1-0. This is a veteran lineup for the Cardinals with 4 seniors in their top 6. Zabby Semensky in the lead group. Great looking pitch onto the green right there. Rolls it up to where she'd have a good chance to finish. Semensky completes her day with a 55. And she was paired with the Cardinals' youngster, freshman Avery Anderson, is showing right away she belongs at the varsity level. Check out the putt from 20-plus feet away. Makes it look easy. She finished with a 53. Another one of their senior leaders is Lily McKenzie. She had a record-setting hockey career. I don't know that she'll be able to have the same success on the course, but she posts the best score of the day for either team on this day with a 49. In the same group with Lily is fellow senior Kaylin Price. Her round wasn't quite as clean, but she finished strong after a very rough start. She finished the day with a 56. The fourth and final senior is Liz Hogarth, fighting through some thick rough on this approach. Not quite the round she was hoping for either, as she misses out on the team score with a 59 for the day. Finally, for the Cardinals, we have junior Sophie Abels. Strong swing off the tee. Her finish is even more impressive. A confident putt from a dozen feet away. No question, that's in the hole. Abels finished with a 54. Cardinals score at 211 and beat the Bengals 224.
It's always nice to see they get that good weather to golf on, because it certainly helps your game. And Nice round for Lily there with a 49. That's impressive as well.
Well, and to see the consistency across the board,
Yes.
I think all of the players would like to have lower scores,
Well, sure.
as they always do. But to see the boys team, they had 79 and an 80. If you can get two guys consistently in the 70s, you're going to be a team that is probably scoring better as a team than Coon Rapids has seen in a number of years.
Right.
On the girls' side, they're all between 49 and 54. I mean, within 5 strokes of one another. And again, there were 3 teams out of the 5 teams that finished, or 4 teams finished beneath them in the Osseo invite. 3 of them are in the conference, so they'll get matchups with 3 more teams that they've already proven they can best. They are at Champlin today. That was the match that was supposed to be on Thursday. That was postponed to today, Monday. They host Andover on Tuesday. And then the Northwest Suburban Conference mid-season tournament is going to be held on Thursday.
Gotta love that mid-season tournament.
Well, hey, if you can get it in.
If the weather the weather's been good, so they can get that stuff in.
They hope.
They hope.
Boys lacrosse team started with a match against Andover at Spring Lake Park High School on Monday last week. They lost to the Huskies 8-4, dropping their record to 1-1. Person had a goal and an assist. Toby Tranby had a pair of goals. Brody Herzog added the 4th. Scramsted made 21 saves in the loss.
On Wednesday, the SLPCR squad was at Cardinal Stadium for only one of 2 games they'll host there this season. The opponent, the undefeated Anoka Tornadoes. After opening with a dominant win over Forest Lake, they had slipped past Champlin Park on Monday. Now, SLPCR was hoping to end both teams' season-starting streaks. SLPCR trailing early in the 3rd quarter. They're able to find Jack Person in the hole. He steps up and scores, still trailing 6-5 at that point. Well, and Anoka, they're going to steal the momentum right back. Great individual effort on this play from Ethan Mossman. Works his way out for point-blank shot. That stopped, but he gets his own rebound, adjusts, and scores. One of his 4 in the game. Anoka with some breathing room. Late in the period, SLPCR gets one back with a great play in transition. They'll get it ahead to Toby Tranby, and then you saw the great flip to Brody Herzog, cashing in the back door, one of his 5 goals in heavy traffic. Still, Anoka's going to lead 10-7 going to the 4th. Tornadoes increase their intensity in the final frame and blow past SLPCR. Long run for Kyle Labaca, and he finishes by firing on shelf, as you saw there. But that was just the start of the visitors' spurt. Labaca again, this time from the near side, slashing out, front to net 1 of his 3. Anoka scores 6 unanswered to leave no question. SLPCR does get a couple late in the game to make the final look a little more respectable, Joe. You saw there Caden Conkler able to finish in close, but unfortunately, Catbirds, they're going to fall to 0-3 by losing 16-10.
That's incorrect. I miswrote that. They're 1-2. They're 1-2 because they beat Simley Week in game 1. That's my mistake. I apologize. I also wrote way too much, apparently.
I know. I was trying to read.
Very
I
excited.
was not trying to go too fast, but yet fast enough to try and keep up with it. So.
But the funny thing,
and if I would have,
he normally reads faster than I do.
Yeah.
So I write more for his videos, and it didn't work.
Joe Young's speed reading class.
They've got 3 this week, the boys. They are hosting Kennedy and Burnsville tonight, Monday night. They are at Centennial on Wednesday. That's always a really tough one. Cougars, one of the better teams in the state of Minnesota each and every year. They are going up to Duluth on Saturday. Girls lacrosse team opened last week's play against Irondale, and they scored their first win of the season. The Panthers 14-5 over the Knights. Ray Schmidt led the way with four goals and an assist. Lorkey had a hat trick plus a helper, and Edwards had 5 points as well. 2 goals each for Easton, Scandrett, and Dewar. Panthers were hoping to keep that momentum rolling when they traveled to Centennial on Wednesday. Again, always a very good program. The Cougars would definitely be a tougher challenge, though, than Irondale, but they were coming off of a loss to Blaine on Monday, so they were also obviously beatable. Trying to get on top early would be key if the Panthers wanted to score their first conference win of the year. Our friends from North Metro had the coverage. No score early in the second. Panthers keeper Jane Romaker keeps it that way. Big save off the Centennial free position. Cougars continue to pressure Late in the half now, Mackenzie Munger will decide to keep this one herself. Spins to the middle and shoots low, finally finding a hole and giving the home team a 1-0 lead. Centennial starting to pull away midway through the third quarter. Long run for Ella Wiest, slashing through the Panthers defense and then burying the shot mid-stride. That put the Cougars up by 5. Spring Lake Park only gets 1 goal in this contest, but it's a pretty one. Allie Edwards working behind the net, eyes out front. Beauty of a pass. Sophia Middies catches high, shoots low for the score. Unfortunately, again, it was the only one for SLP. Cougars controlling and cruising to the win in the fourth. This is Munger again, slashing right through the middle. Centennial wins 7-1. Panthers fall to 1-2 to start the year.
Yeah, again, you touched on not the same kind of competition that Irondale against Irondale, but this is a growing program, quite obviously.
Well, and we hope that they continue to thrive and
Yes.
build, and I have no doubt that they will. They too have 3 on the schedule this week. They host Osseo Park Center on Monday, Blaine on Wednesday, and Apple Valley on Saturday. And there
that was a full
you
show.
have it.
That was a full show. We got a lot in there.
Well, we
I'd like
got
to
a
see it.
lot more on the way. Weather permitting, of course, we will be at Castle Field in Anoka on Tuesday afternoon as the Cardinals take on the Tornadoes. We will see the softball team hosting the Armstrong Falcons on Thursday. Next week, we will be under the lights in Andover on Tuesday night as the Cardinals take on the Huskies. But that will do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say good night.